All right, so I'm going to do a quick overview of this book. I haven't been able to do much videos, and oh goodness, I think it's been over 150 days with everything going on. If you see my community posts and stuff, just a lot going on. It's been pretty stressful, but that's not why I'm making this video. But just pray for me if you can. I'll put that out there. So I'm just going to go over an overview of this. It has been reviewed before. All you'd have to look up is let's see here. It's just made by somebody said it was a controversial company, but I don't know. I hear that about everything. Center for Traditionalist Orthodox Studies. So if you put that in and put the Psalter, this will come up. But now what this is the King James Psalms corrected by the Septuagint. Very important. I've been doing a pretty long study, and I read a 2-volume series, a set of books called Rebooting the Bible, and a few other books and a lot of articles, and listening to a few priests here and there dealing with the Masoretic text, which is from 300 or 400 AD. I know it goes back further than that, but that's the latest copy that we have that's extant. So in the stuff that I've been studying, and like I said, this is controversial, so you do your own study, come to your own conclusion, talk to your own priests and see what they think, and go by their wisdom, not mine. But it seems like, and from what I can tell in my studies, that the Masoretic text was deliberately tampered with in certain areas to kind of smudge or actually remove some of the prophecies of Jesus Christ. And if it didn't do that, you could see where it would smudge it. In other words, it wouldn't make it as clear as the Septuagint, which is far before, even hundreds of years before the time of Christ's birth, the incarnation. So what this is a very good volume, because the King James is a very well translated Bible. It just needs some corrections in the New Testament with the Greek, because when they wrote in Greek, they had an Aramaic mindset. And in the Protestant realm, like say James White's a good example. In the New Testament, he'd say, well, I know Greek. But the problem is, to understand the New Testament, you need to understand the fathers, the saints, and also if you don't know Aramaic and Hebrew, you're not going to understand why the Greek is in the New Testament the way it is in the meaning. Just because you have a lexicon with definitions doesn't mean those definitions are correct unless you know Aramaic and Hebrew. And maybe I'll do a video on that, but let me do an overview of this real quick. So this is a great volume. The paper's amazing. The GSM is thick. The artwork in the print is second to none. I mean, I've done, oh goodness, it's got to be thousands of Bible reviews, or at least had thousands of Bibles and done written reviews, but video reviews, it's got to be up in the hundreds, if not more. I don't know. Some of them I've taken down throughout the years, just because I wasn't pleased with it. But let me zoom in a little bit. It's just done tremendously well. I mean, just absolutely wonderfully done. And it's a really good Psalter. The only problem, and this is a big problem, and I want to get a hold of these folks and thank them for such a great translation of the Psalter, but it's only what they call a perfect bound book. In other words, it's glued. So if I was to leave this in the hot sun, just forget it, and didn't let it cool down first, it would still do damage. But if I wasn't to let it cool down first, I was to open this, it would split and split in two. So what I would love to see is something that's done this well. Like I said, I'm not going to go through the translation necessarily right now or go through a full review of it, but I want to put it out there that it is worth getting. Don't get me wrong, because it reads really well. This is a really good Psalter. But if it was bound it was Smith sewn, not just glued, and they would use at least a hardcover, this would probably be the Psalter that I would use along with the one according to the 70, but I think it's Holy Cross Monastery, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. That's a very good Psalter as well, and they're both kind of based on the King James, but this one is really well done, really well translated. I encourage you to get a copy, but I will get in contact and see, just telling them from my Bible knowledge and the stuff throughout the years and doing Bible rebinds, how they could improve this edition and make it maybe a standard, kind of like the Holy Cross Monastery translation of the 70 is kind of like the standard right now, right? So just remember that when you're using use a King James Bible if you don't have any other Bible, and you can get them for free. They're cheap. A good old King James, New King James, I would say old. Well, no, New King James is good because of the footnotes. But I would say the Old King James is a better translation, but always please compare it with the Septuagint, a good copy of the Septuagint in English. Talk to your priest. By no means take my word for it. Get spiritual counsel, but this is a great volume. The Psalter, based on the King James, corrected by the Septuagint, and that's just an overview of pretty much the constructions where I really want to get across. But the translation is great. I'll do more videos on that, and just remember that any Protestant translation is going to have its problems. But when you go back to the Old King James, you're still dealing with a time, even those Episcopalians and Puritans, they still were told by the king himself to not take out the liturgical language for the most part. Take out the liturgical language like the word church and bishop and things like that. So there's a really good plus to the Old King James. But until next time, guys, good day. God bless.